Well, people from all walks of life and backgrounds are queuing up in lines as long as 4 kilometres to pay their respects to Queen Elizabeth, whose coffin now lies in state at Westminster Hall. Tim Ewart is the former royal editor with the independent television network in the UK, and he joins me live from London. Tim, thank you once again for your time. This queuing up process, I've been thinking about it today. It's actually an incredible testimony to the grief and devotion Brits are feeling right now. Of everything that's happened, it's an incredible testimony.
Well, that queue currently stands at 2.6 miles, Chris. For many people who've been on TV talking about it, I heard yesterday a guy of 85 years old who'd already been in the queue for 27 hours. He was one of the first to arrive, obviously quite near the front of that queue. It is extraordinary. It's still dominating all our news bulletins here. People openly weeping on camera. And for me, it was best summed up very simply by one woman who said, "I don't know why, I just feel like I knew her." And I think that's the sentiment here. We just feel like we knew the Queen. Monarchist, Republican, whatever your sentiments may be, the majority of people just felt like that. And I suppose it's truly British. It only could happen in Britain, a queue of getting on for 3 miles to walk in silence past the coffin of the monarch.
We were having this argument today in the newsroom, and I think the same might have been replicated if, hypothetically, a similar thing had occurred here, because there was the same connection between Australians and Elizabeth II. Now, what are you making about what you're seeing on the faces of the members of the royal family, Tim, about how they're coping through this period?
Well, I think nobody has to grieve in public like the British royal family has to do. And obviously examples are now being drawn of the day 25 years ago when the two young princes, William and Harry, who were aged 12 and 15 at that time, had to walk behind their mother's coffin. The royal family exposes its grief on TV for everyone to see. And again, whatever you think about them, and I'm always a bit careful to say that, it's a very, very difficult time for them. And to be honest, it must be an ordeal. And I think a lot of people felt particularly strongly when we saw that procession behind the coffin for William and Harry.
We're hearing today that Harry and Meghan's children will not get HRH status from their grandfather. That would not have gone down too well, but at the end of the day, they bailed, Tim.
They bailed, you're right, and they're going to go back. The tabloids love this stuff. A lot of the controversy over this stems back to that famous interview with Oprah Winfrey that Meghan and Harry gave, where Meghan made the point that Harry was not given the title of prince because of his ethnic background. Well, that wasn't true. Unfortunately, it just simply wasn't true. The rules, the protocols state that once you're the grandson or granddaughter of a reigning monarch, you can assume the title prince and princess, and they are entitled to those titles, and they will get them unless the king strips them, which I think is highly unlikely. The HRH title is a little bit more complicated because it raises questions about not only status, but security. And you may remember Diana was stripped of her HRH title, and there was a lot of controversy about that after her death. So I think that my sense is that Charles is going to get fairly hard on this, pretty tough. And I think he's going to say to Harry, you know, if you bail out, to use your expression, if you go, all that stuff goes with you.
Yeah. Just very quickly, have we got any idea at all as to who will be speaking at Her Majesty's funeral?
No, we're still waiting for details on that, Chris. They're drip feeding us. It's going to be an incredible day, a logistics nightmare, a security nightmare. I've just read that the President of the United States is going to bring 400 security staff. You can just picture the scene in central London. It's well worth keeping clear unless you want to stand in the crowds.
Exactly. Tim Ewart, thank you once again for your diligence. Much appreciated. All right, coming up.